Hi again, people. It's a pretty interesting little legal brief by Texas Law Shield. I think they got U.S. Law Shield now. Illegal mistakes waiting to happen with CBD oil and guns. So, look, this isn't my opinion. I'm just passing it on how the feds and states can get kind of tricked up. So let's take a look at what she says here.
Nationwide is the legality of cannabidiol, or CBD oil. While many medical patients swear by its healing effects, gun owners nationwide could find CBD oil to be a huge source of pain when it comes to their Second Amendment rights. CBD oil used for medicinal purposes is spreading like wildfire among people here in the United States and abroad. CBD is often synthesized from the oily resin of the cannabis plant to create edibles, gel caps, topicals, beverages, and vape oil cartridges. People use these products to treat everything from epilepsy to arthritis. Despite its popularity, it's very important to realize anything related to cannabis triggers potential criminal liability under both state and federal law. Federal law considers cannabis, or marijuana.
State and federal. Remember, just because your state says it's okay, the feds can always come in. There's plenty of places that are getting raided in these legalized marijuana places, and the feds are coming in because there's no state rights, and the feds can trump state rights, and no state has the balls to stand up against the damn feds, so they keep letting them do it. But I digress. Let's stay on this.
Marijuana, a Schedule I controlled substance under the Controlled Substances Act. This classification under the Act equates marijuana with heroin and other hard drugs.
I cannot believe the feds have marijuana as a Schedule I with heroin and hard drugs. I don't think it used to be that way. I thought marijuana used to be like a Schedule III, but maybe I was wrong. I haven't worked drugs in a while.
And states it lacks any medicinal value, has a high potential for abuse, and cannot safely be prescribed. Merely possessing cannabis is a federal misdemeanor punishable by a fine up to $1,000 and/or a year in prison.
A year in prison. States are allowing people to sell this, grow it, occupy it, etc., and the feds can come in and give you a year in prison. And I know there's idiots out there going to say, but Rick, the government works for us and we have a constitution. Well, that's because you're an idiot. That's not the way it works.
In 2018, the Federal Farm Bill was passed and lifted a ban on hemp production and removed it from the Controlled Substances Act. This effectively cleared the chamber for CBD oils derived from hemp to hit the marketplace. However, federal authorities were quick to point out that any CBD oil products marketed as therapeutic or added to food products were essentially the same as adding a prescription drug and will be regulated similarly. Misconception number 1. Many people believe that if CBD oil is legal in their state, then they have nothing to fear. Unfortunately, this is wrong. If you want to remain a legal gun owner, you should pause before you inhale or consume any product containing CBD oil.
Notice she said pause. They're not saying it will, but it's like I say a lot of times, the law is as clear as mud. And for someone to sit out here and go, I know the law and this is what it is, well, that's because they've never really been in the system. They've never had to defend it, and they haven't seen the way it can be manipulated and the way that any judge can interpret any word to their own definition, and any judge can abuse their power with immunity, and any DA can abuse their power with immunity, and cops can abuse their power with immunity. But Rick, we have a constitution, and that's because you're an idiot. It's a piece of paper, man. I'm sorry. I don't believe that it's a piece of paper. I think it ought to be a founding document. I think it ought to be protected and ought to be fought for, but it just ain't the case. There's a lot of talk about protecting it. There's also a lot of people complying with a lot of unlawful gun laws. But let's get back to CBD oil.
If you're using CBD oil as a treatment plan or have a medical marijuana prescription, you might inadvertently become classified as an unlawful user under federal law.
Okay, so you remember when I read the 4473, 4475, I think it's 4473, that you fill out when you buy a gun? Remember there's a thing on there about ever used or use or addicted, or there's all kind of wordings that they're going to play with. And again, government, especially federal government, will give all these states room to hang themselves and to make a bunch of unlawful gun owners through federal law, even though the state's running around telling them, oh, no problem, you can do this. It's all up to interpretation. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying she's 100% right. She's not making clear-cut absolutes. I'm not making absolutes, other than the fact that you shouldn't trust anything in government. That's pretty much absolute.
If you are an unlawful user, you would no longer be legally eligible to purchase, own, possess, or transport firearms.
I know my damn viewers. Let me go back, because they weren't watching the video. They were watching over here and shit. Here's where she's talking about. Quit looking over here, you big dummies.
Own, possess, or transport firearms. Not only that, but most states require that to be eligible for a handgun license or permit, you must not be prohibited from possessing a firearm under federal law.
Bingo. So states will issue you a handgun permit unless you're prohibited by federal law. But Rick, if the state approves it, then what? Well, look, people, I don't know what to tell you.
If you're classified as an unlawful user under federal law, you could become ineligible. Or worse yet, you could lose your state-issued handgun license or permit. Misconception number 2. People mistakenly believe all CBD oil is created equally and legally. Unfortunately, CBD oil is produced by different companies, and some don't mind bending the rules to move their products quickly. Oftentimes, CBD oil users are surprised to discover their pain relief comes with an unintended ingredient, tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC.
Now, I've checked into this, and I've asked if it contained THC, and everybody I've asked said, no. There's no THC in CBD oil. And I've said, I don't believe it. But I have no proof. But maybe she has proof, because she's saying the same thing that I kind of thought.
This ingredient is the psychoactive and intoxicating component found in marijuana and can cause everything from eating too many chips to failing a drug test at work, be fired from their job for an honest mistake, but they could also be prosecuted. Many jurisdictions treat THC-laced CBD oil as a controlled substance worthy of a felony charge, no matter how much or how little you may have in your possession when law enforcement discovers.
Okay, so if you don't think a cop can arrest you for CBD oil, and then when it tests clear of THC, the DA will dismiss the charges. But Rick, that's false arrest. Well, no, it's not, because they're just going to dismiss it and say there was no intent, and therefore the officer was in the scope of his authority, therefore he's not liable, so he gets immunity, the DA gets immunity, everybody gets immunity, and the pesky tax-paying citizen is out money, time, jail time, car tow time, everything else, and then they'll be cussing me out saying I'm a big jackboot because I told you it was going to happen and it's my fault.
Misconception number 3. Many people believe if they have a valid prescription or license to smoke marijuana or CBD oil in their home state, they may legally transport their medicine to another state. This is not true and could land you in hot water in both federal and state court.
Wow, they got CBD oil in prescription bottles. That's pretty cool. Rick, you don't be quiet.
Just like handgun license reciprocity, you must follow the laws of the state you find yourself in. This means if marijuana or CBD oil is illegal in the state you're visiting, you could find yourself locked in a jail cell for merely possessing either substance. That's why we were...
Okay, so this is a Texas Law Shield, and I belong to them. I'm not getting compensated. I think they do a pretty good job, and if I got a question, I can call, and they transfer me to a lawyer, and I ask them the question. So, and I got the law enforcement. If you're retired law enforcement or law enforcement, I think they have a little better deal, and they give you a little extra benefits, like free expert testimony or something. But anyway, look, be aware. I like putting information out that make people think. Search for your own answer, come up with your own conclusion. You don't have to do it my way or Texas Law Shield way or U.S. law, whatever, whoever someone's going to come here. It's not Texas anymore. Look, you big dummies, it is Texas in Texas. See right here? It says Texas Law Shield. I know I'm going to have some damn expert. All right, well, in that there on CBD oil and gun permits and gun fed state, the great clear legal system.